The innovation process can be likened to a journey that is divided into two distinct phases. It starts at the front end, where ideas are generated, opportunities identified, and concepts developed and prioritized, before entering the back-end phase, which involves the formal design, development, testing, and implementation processes. Accretis provides bespoke coaching and consultancy to make this journey easier and more profitable. And the most effective way of working through the front end in order to produce, develop, and validate the necessary new ideas is through facilitated workshops. Over the last few years, we have created a powerful package of these called Discarding the Box. This is so called because we are constantly urged to think outside the box in order to be creative. However, in terms of innovation thinking, ignoring what is actually inside the box, all our current knowledge, expertise, procedures, etc., well, ignoring all that is a recipe for disaster. So for successful innovation to occur, what we know now needs to be connected with what can be developed. But we must keep a clear line of sight to when, how, and where those connections can be made. So whichever way you look at things, this metaphorical box is a barrier to successful innovation, whereas discarding it opens up infinite possibilities. And so, to paraphrase that fictional detective genius, Sherlock Holmes, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must still be possible. So we've taken that proposition and modelled it using a theory borrowed from maths and physics. In mathematics and physics, a phase space is a way of representing all possible states of a system, with each possibility corresponding to a unique point in the plot. The phase space is a dynamic, multidimensional system where to move from the ground state, that of lowest energy, to any other position takes effort. And the same is true for innovation. So we can create a phase space of ideas. Every organisation's ground state or current position, including all current or existing products, services and processes, is at the centre. So any innovation requires investment and action to move away from here to another point. As you can see, the easier incremental changes involve relatively little effort, whereas radical innovations are more difficult and require more than a step change to achieve. Now, as everything inside the area of the plot is theoretically possible, this allows us to challenge and test what we might believe to be impossible. So this framework now also enables us to expand our horizons way beyond traditional innovation workshop thinking, while still maintaining that clear line of sight from where we are now to where a great imaginative leap could take us. This was the type of visionary approach responsible for the Apollo space program, where the need to invent new alloys was incorporated into the plans announced by President Kennedy.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too. We shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for propulsion, guidance, control, communications, food, and survival on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth, re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that on the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today, and do all this, and do all this, and do it right, and do it first.
Although they probably didn't know it at the time, That speech actually outlined the 5 fundamental constituents which must be defined and combined for any new product or service. These include its properties, its content, how it's produced, what needs to be combined with it, and its deployment. The discarding the box framework was also devised using those same principles, and so by being used with a number of other tools and techniques, it has a high degree of flexibility built into it. It therefore steers the participants through the whole of the front-end journey in just a few days, ensuring what needs to be developed and accomplished during the back-end processes can be achieved, leading to a far greater chance of successful implementation and launch. So if you want to explore this for yourself, please give us a call or email us, or otherwise get in touch using the inquiry form on our Contact Us webpage.